Hey Double Dip babes, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a really pretty fall themed manicure using products from Double Dip Nails. I do already have my practice hand prepped and ready for the application. I am going to go ahead and start gluing on the nail tips. These nail tips are extra long, square, C-curve nail tips. I am just gluing them on using some nail glue. Once all of the nails are glued into place, I am taking my nail tip cutters and I'm going to go ahead and cut down the length of the nail tips. For this manicure, I am going for a medium long nail length. Next, I am taking a hand file and I'm going to go ahead and file the corners of the nails. This is basically to blend in the nail tip with the nail bed area. If you are wanting your manicure to last as long as possible, do make sure to file the shine away from the nail tips and blend them in with your natural nails. Because I am doing this on my practice hand, I am going to be skipping that step. For the manicure, I am going to be using Double Dip Nails Fringe Tip Dip Powder Tray. This is a dip powder tray that is used to create fringe tips. I also love to use this for dip powder marbles. The colors I'm going to be using for this manicure is Double Dip Nails Black Like My Heart. This is a really pigmented black dip powder. I'll also be using the color 204, which is Jack-o'-lantern. This is a vibrant orange dip powder. To start the marble, I am just pouring a decent amount of the black dip powder into the French tip tray. Then taking a cuticle pusher, I am picking up some of the orange dip powder color and I'm going to be pouring some of this in different areas on top of the black dip powder. Once I place the orange dip powder in the tray, I am flipping the cuticle pusher over to the pointed side and I'm going to go ahead and start marbling the two dip powder colors together. When you do this, you do want to make sure not to overdo this step, otherwise you will just mix those two colors together and it will not give you the marbled effect. You also want to try to keep the powder on the surface of the tray. Once I have the marble like I want, I did go ahead and tap it down onto the table to level out the surface. To start the dip powder application, I will be using the dip base, which is number 2. This is a nail resin to adhere the powder to the nail. I am going to be applying a thin layer of dip base to the entire nail. For the first layer, I'm actually going to be dipping into the orange dip powder color. The nail was a little bit too long, so I did end up taking my cuticle pusher to pour the dip powder over the rest of the nail. After dipping the nail, I did tap away the excess powder, and I'm taking the fluffy unicorn nail brush to dust away all of the excess powder. So now that we have the base layer done, we are ready to dip into the marble design. Again, I'm just making sure I have the design exactly like I want. I am going back with dip base and I'm going to apply a thin layer to the entire nail. Immediately after applying the dip base, I am turning the practice hand upside down and I'm going to go ahead and press it down into the dip powder marble design. After dipping the nail, you do want to make sure to tap away the excess powder. Once that layer is dry, I am removing all of the extra powder from the nail. So now onto the fun part. I did get these flowers to decorate my house for the fall, and I'm actually deciding to place some of these in my nails as well. So there was this really small orange rose at the bottom, and I'm just going to be taking 2 flower petals from this rose. I am so excited to place these in my nails. I did also pick 2 other types of flowers as well, but I ended up not using these in the nail set. So now that I have the rose petals picked, I am taking some really small scissors and I'm going to be cutting really small chunks from the rose petal. You can make these as big or as small as you want. I did make various sizes just because I was unsure of what sizes I wanted for this manicure. I will also be adding some gold foil to the nail. I do have my rhinestone applicator, which actually doesn't pick up the roses, but it does pick up the gold foil. And last but not least, I will be adding this glitter as well. Making sure the nail is dust free, I am going back with Dip Base and I'm going to apply a thin layer to the entire nail. I already kind of knew that the applicator did not pick up the rose petals, but I tried it again anyway, and of course it didn't pick them up, so I just grabbed whatever I could get my hands on to place the rose petals on the nail before the dip base dried. I did try using these little pliers and it was not working that well, so I ended up just using my nail. I would definitely recommend to have some tweezers nearby for this type of nail art. Once I have the rose petals placed, I am taking the applicator and the fine glitter and I'm just applying the glitter around the rose petals. For this type of nail design, I do want the glitter to be at the top and at the bottom of the nail. Then taking the gold foil, I am applying a little bit of this as well. I am going to go ahead and repeat the exact same step for the index nail as well. I do want to go ahead and say if you are using black in your dip powder marble, you do want to make sure to do a lighter color base for the nail. You do not want to do 2 layers of the marble if you are using black, just because it will completely cover up the lighter color that you're using. Moving on to the pinky nail, again I'm applying the dip base to the entire nail. I'm going to be using the black dip powder for this nail. I am taking the black dip powder color and my cuticle pusher just to pour the black dip powder over top of the nail. For the pinky, I will be doing 3 layers of the black dip powder. I do want to go ahead and mention that this is a freestyle nail set and I am making this up as I go, so definitely keep that in mind throughout this video. Moving on to the middle fingernail, again I'm applying the dip base to the entire nail. For this nail I will be using the orange dip powder color that I used for the marble. I did try to dip the nail, but again the nail is a little bit too long for the jar, so I did end up pouring the dip powder over the rest of the nail. I'm going to repeat that process for a second layer of dip powder. Going back to the index nail, I'm going to go ahead and do the decoration for this nail. Again, I'm doing the same thing that I did for the ring fingernail. I'm just applying the dip base. After applying the dip base, I'm going to apply the rose petals, the gold foil, and the glitter. Again, because the dip base does dry on its own and it does dry pretty quickly, you do have to be quite fast for this step. If you work very slow, you can actually do this into uncured gel. For the thumbnail, I'm going to be doing another solid color nail, and for this one, I will be dipping into the black dip powder color. For the thumbnail, just as I did the pinky, I will be doing 3 layers of dip powder. For the other 3 nails, I only did 2 because I am planning to encapsulate those nails with polygel, but I'm not planning to encapsulate the pinky and the thumbnail with polygel. After all of the nails are fully dry and dusted, I am taking the activator, which is step number 3, and I'm going to go ahead and apply this very generously to all of the nails. Activator is going to harden the layers of dip powder just to make sure you are ready to shape and file the nails. Next, I am taking the Bellavina Polygel. This is the clear. I'm going to go ahead and apply this to the ring fingernail. If you guys do not know, Bellavina is actually the sister company for Double Dip Nails, so sometimes you will find Bellavina products on the Double Dip Nails website. I do have some rubbing alcohol in my dabbing dish, and I'm going to be using the polygel brush from any of the Double Dip Nails polygel kits. After dipping the brush in the alcohol, I am going to go ahead and start smoothing out the polygel over the nail. When I encapsulate my dip powder nails with polygel, it is not because I'm trying to build more structure for the nails. I do it because I find that encapsulating with polygel is much quicker than encapsulating with clear dip powder. But if you don't want to work with polygel, you can encapsulate the dip powder nails with clear dip powder instead. After I have smoothed out the polygel, I did take the mini UV LED nail lamp that comes in the Mini Luxe gel tip kit, and I'm going to go ahead and fully cure the polygel in place. I'm going to go ahead and encapsulate the index nail as well. Next, I am taking the Bellavina foil gel and I'm going to apply this to the middle fingernail. I will be doing some transfer foils for this nail. After applying the foil gel, I did go ahead and cure for a full minute. I am going to be using this black lace foil and I'm going to apply this diagonally from the corner of the nail all the way down to the free edge. Once I place the foil down on the nail, I will be rubbing it in place with my finger and other tools just to try to get the design to transfer onto the nail. When I removed the foil, the design did not fully transfer onto the nail, so I did just repeat the same steps to attempt to apply the rest of the foil design. So as you can see, the second attempt at applying the foil design was a lot better than the first attempt, but there was still some areas that did not transfer. So I am taking the Bellavina black gel liner. This is from the first gel liner collection. I'm going to take this to try to finish out the foil design that did not transfer. I do want to go ahead and mention that Double Dip Nails is currently having a sale on their gel liners. You can get 50% off of the gel liner collections using the code KC50. I do believe that this sale is only for the month of October. If you're interested in any of the other products that I'm using, you can use my code KCNails20 and that will save you 20% off of the Double Dip Nails website. Once I finished fixing the transfer foil design with the gel liner, I'm going to be doing a thin line following the same design from the transfer foils. This is basically a side fringe nail design. Once I finished with the gel art liner, I did go ahead and cure that under the nail lamp. I am going back with the clear polygel to encapsulate that nail as well. Next, I am taking a lint-free wipe with some rubbing alcohol just to remove the sticky layer from the polygel nails. Do keep in mind, after polygel is cured, it does have an inhibition layer which does need to be removed, otherwise you will ruin your hand files. I am going to go ahead and take a hand file and reshape the edges of the nails. I will also be using this hand file to file over the surface of all of the nails. As usual, because this step is very repetitive and time consuming, I did go ahead and do all of the other nails off camera. After all of the nails are shaped and filed, I am going to be doing some more nail art. So I'm going back with the polygel brush and the number 2 white polygel from the Classic Edition polygel kit. I will also be using a dotting tool to help me pick up really small amounts of polygel. So taking the dotting tool, I'm just picking up a really small bead of the white polygel. I am placing this towards the cuticle area of the ring fingernail. I did make sure to remove most of the liquid from the brush just to try to keep the polygel a little bit more dry. I'm going to go ahead and start shaping the flower petal. So for this, I basically just started by flattening out that bead of polygel. I am trying to get this into a really good petal shape for the flower. After flattening out the bead of polygel, I am just going to very gently shape it into a petal. Once I have that first petal done, I did go ahead and do about a 15-second cure under the nail lamp just to make sure that this flower petal doesn't move. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that same process to do the 3D flower. I did actually decide to do a different type of flower than I usually do. This one was a little bit difficult for me, so if it doesn't turn out the best, just keep that in mind. Whenever you do 3D flowers with polygel, you do have to at least flash cure the flower petal individually, because if you don't, you will ruin the first flower petal that you created. So definitely make sure to cure each and every flower petal. After doing the second flower petal, I did go ahead and cure that one as well. I'm going to go ahead and add more flower petals. After I do the 3 initial flower petals, I did start overlapping them. This is going to give me a little bit more of a 3D effect. After I finished forming the last flower petal in the center of the flower, I am taking some gold caviar beads and I'm just placing this in the center of the flower before I cure. Once I placed the caviar beads, I did go ahead and do a full cure under the nail lamp. I did also decide to do 2 flower petals coming away from the flower. Once those 2 flower petals are cured, I am taking the top coat gel. This is from any of the polygel kits. I'm going to start top coating around the flower. I would probably recommend for this type of flower design to top coat before doing the flower, just because it is quite big and you have a lot of tiny areas to top coat. Because the brush of the top coat is a little bit too big, I am taking a fine nail art brush and I'm picking up the top coat and I'm just going to go ahead and go into the small areas around the flowers just to make sure I top coat the entire nail underneath the flower. Into the uncured top coat, I am going back with these small caviar beads and I'm placing 2 of these just above the 2 individual flower petals. Once I've applied the top coat, I did go ahead and do a full cure under the nail lamp. To the middle fingernail, I am going ahead and applying the same gel top coat to the entire nail. I will be using these rhinestones from the Polygel kits, and I'm taking the medium-sized black one. I'm placing that in the middle of the nail. Then taking the smallest black rhinestones, I will be applying 2 of these just beside the bigger one. For these rhinestones, I am just following the line of the side French tip. I will also be adding some of these small gold caviar beads in between each of the black rhinestones. Once I have the placement lined up, I did go ahead and cure under the nail lamp. For the index nail, we are keeping things a little bit more simple, so I'm just applying the gel top coat to the entire nail. Into the uncured top coat, I am taking these small black rhinestones and I'm placing these just around the cuticle of the index nail. I did go ahead and cure that layer under the nail lamp. For the pinky, again, I'm applying the gel top coat to the entire nail. For the pinky, I actually have this curved gold bar and I'm just applying this towards the base of the nail. I'm going to be applying a second one in the opposite direction towards the tip of the nail. I am just placing a gold star charm in between those 2 charms. I am also going to be taking some more gold caviar beads and placing these in a line going down the nail. I did go ahead and cure that under the nail lamp. For the thumbnail, again, I'm going to start out by applying the gel top coat to the entire nail. I am just taking my rhinestone applicator and I'm picking up the gold foil and I'm just applying this into the uncured top coat. I'm also going to be taking the same glitter that I used earlier and I'm placing this in an S motion on the nail. I will be using some gold rhinestones as well as some orange ones and some small black ones. These are a little bit hard to see, so I'm not sure if I really should have applied these, but I feel like it gives the nail a little bit more texture. Once I have everything placed, I did go ahead and do a full cure under the nail lamp. And here are the nails. Let me know what you think of this nail set down below in the comments. Do make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, you can click the boxes and subscribe to Double Dip Nails YouTube channel by clicking the circle here. You can also subscribe to my personal YouTube channel by clicking the circle here.